Hello and welcome to the mill. I am your host, Dusty Crane, and this week I wanted to talk a little bit about current Stonemaier news, but also an experience I had just last night with Scythe, a first-time experience I had with Scythe last night. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was last week on this show I went ahead and provided the stream for the Facebook live stream that Jamie usually does on Wednesdays. I think it's 10 a.m. his time, it's 11 a.m. Eastern. But I went ahead and produced that video and then sent some instructions along to Jamie to see if that was something that he wanted to regularly provide on his YouTube channel. And we decided this week, or he decided this week would be the first time that he would give that a shot. And maybe you already saw that, but the live stream did go up actually pretty much after he finished the live stream, and he must have immediately grabbed that file and uploaded it. So the Facebook live stream, if you're not somebody who wants to participate in Facebook or likes Facebook, you can go ahead and see the stream right there on his channel. He said it was pretty easy, so maybe that's something that will continue. I guess time will tell. The second thing I wanted to talk about was kind of Wingspan related, in that someone had asked on BGG whether or not the bird card tray would be available for purchase. He wanted to prepare for the expansion, and Jamie said without giving anything away, you might want to wait on trying to acquire another tray. So to me, that kind of means there'll be some kind of storage as a part of this expansion, whether or not that means another tray similar to what we have today, or whether or not it might be something that will hold, other pieces of the expansion. I guess we will have to find out. Now, Jamie has commonly used game trays as a partner for these board games, so maybe we will see a new game trays board or game trays organizer that actually will work for the future planned content, as opposed to just doing a tray per expansion. But I guess we'll see. What do you think? The third thing I had was related to the live stream last week. Jamie had a box just off camera. He teased us about it. He's like, it's literally right here. And so I was just wondering, what do you guys think it is? I was thinking that I think it's probably the early print or the pre-print prototype for Codename Clay. I think that one we're getting close to seeing and learning more about. But we also are supposed to soon be seeing the expansion for My Little Scythe. So, I think technically that is considered a 2020 release, but I would imagine you could start production well in advance of that. So that, I guess, was another thing I wanted to talk about. What do you think was in that box just off camera that he was teasing us about? Yeah, and so just to kind of get into the meat of what I wanted to talk about this week here was, we talked about a few weeks ago that the Invaders from Afar expansion was available on Scythe Digital Edition, and it got me to thinking about the fact that, shamefully, I have not played a lot of Albion or Tagawa. In fact, I've never played Albion before last night. It's kind of crazy because Scythe, to me anyway, because Scythe is my favorite game. It was my introduction to Stonemaier games, and I was immediately hooked, and I bought, all the expansions just as soon as I could. So I've had this box right here for quite a while, and I just hadn't played. I think the times I was teaching it, I want to keep it very simple and baseline, and then the other times that I was playing maybe a more competitive game, I wanted to win, so I didn't want to take time trying to learn a new faction. And I last night it was me and my brother-in-law and my son, and we were sitting around the table and decided to play Scythe. And I thought, this will be a perfect time because my brother-in-law's new to it. If my son wins, it's fine. And I wanted to give it a shot. And so I wanted to kind of share my experience there. Without, kind of beating around the bush, I really really like Albion. When you think about what the base game aside brought, I mean, you had all of these factions were asymmetrical and they were different in their own ways, but you all basically had like that same starting puzzle, right? That you had your starting territory with your, your starting resources, and you were looking to get out of that home territory either by, building a mine or getting your Riverwalk mech deployed, but you all kind of had that same puzzle. How do I get off of my little island so I can start, expanding or doing the next thing? And Albion and Tagawa don't have that issue, but they also have these tokens. And so Tagawa has their traps, but Albion has these flags. And what I thought was interesting about the flags is that they count for an extra territory for endgame scoring, so long as you control that territory. So if I put a flag on the factory, then it's not worth 3 at the end of the game, it's worth 4. So long as I control the factory at the end of the game. And one of the coolest mech abilities that I think that Albion has is this rally mech. Now, Tagawa and Albion are different from the main factions in that not just that they're just not landlocked, they also don't have a speed mech. So one of the slights that I've heard about Albion is that they're slow. And I think I've heard that for Tagawa too, but it's been a while since I've played them. But anyway, is that, that they're a slow faction, and I can see the case to be made, but this rally mech, what this does is so cool is it lets you move to a flag or to a worker. So if you're spreading out your flags, and the way you place these flags is your character, when he ends his movement, you can choose to drop a flag. So real close to my starting territories, but not, directly adjacent to my base, because that's one of the conditions. If you use a flag, it is worth 1 extra territory, so long as it's not adjacent to your home base. So, I made a move and I got out of my, starting area there and dropped a flag, and that allowed me, with that rally mech deployed, to go ahead and bounce to that flag real quick, to bounce to my workers. And the way it changed up movement was really, really interesting, because one of the strategies I've seen for combat is go ahead and let somebody else soften that player up that you want to attack. Let someone else soften them up, and then you can, whether they win or lose, they've used some energy, they're weakened, and then you want to take that opportunity to strike. Well, with Albion, you can actually, if you have a flag deployed right close by, you can go ahead and initiate that combat and posture like you're really going to go ahead and, use all your combat cards, or you're going hard at this person, and then spend next to nothing, weaken the opponent. And then if you have that flag nearby, that your next opportunity to move, you can go right to that flag, rally to that flag, bring another mech with you, or bring, 2 mechs with you if you've upgraded movement, and really prepare yourself for that next assault. And so I like that you can kind of do that strategy almost on your own. They can be aggressive. They have a couple of other really cool mech abilities in that if you're attacking, your opponent loses 2 combat power, and if you're defending, you gain 2 combat power. And so for my first experience with Albion, I really, really liked what that faction provided in terms of abilities. And so I'm curious, do you just always have invaders from afar tossed into your games? Is it just always I could end up as Albion, I could end up as Tagawa? Do you randomly pick, or is it like, nope, I like Albion, or I like Roosviet, and that's the faction you're going with every single time? I'm curious, of the 2 factions in the expansion box, Invaders from Afar, which one's your favorite? Which one have you had the most luck or experience with? And yeah, let's talk about that. I was really, really excited after my first play with Albion last night, and so I just wanted to talk about it. That's all I have for you this week. Next week we have a Stonemaier newsletter coming, so are we going to hear about something next week? I guess we'll find out. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, and take care of each other. Bye.